Good evening and welcome to Evening Communions with Dr. Ken. This is our Wednesday PM communion with the Angel of Love. Before we begin, let's center, which means that we're going to find our center through our breathing and our heart rate. So to do that, I'm going to ask you to begin by breathing in deeply and slowly for 4 at the rate of your heartbeat. If your heart is beating fast right now, then I'm going to ask you to try to slow your heart rate down through intent and through your breathing as well. All right, so in for 4 at the pace of your heartbeat, trying to find that pulse and breathe in for a count of 4. Hold for 2. Try not to have any tension in your body. Release for 6. Breathing in and out through your nose. Try to push all of the air out with your abdominals. Hold for 2 and then back in for 4. Continue that cycle, breathing in the words of the guided communion this evening into your being and exhaling them out into your living. Inhaling the words into your being, exhaling them into your living. The angel of love is our focus this evening, which means our highest level and degree of state of love in our life. Let's remind ourselves who and what we are. I am earth. I am regeneration. I am power. I am love. I am persona. I am awareness. I am spirit. Our 2 focal chakras this evening are power centers of focus. We're going to try to radiate through for optimal increase, advancement in our personal evolution this evening is through our solar plexus chakra, our power center, and our heart chakra, love. Our contemplative is superior feeling. Try to put yourself into a superior state of feeling, love specifically. The force are your emotions connecting with the cosmic ocean of love. Imagine that the universe is love. As Christians would say, God is love. If God is creation, then love is creation. The universe is love by extension. So we're trying to connect our emotions, the emotions we feel locally, with the infinite cosmos of the ocean of love. I enter into the stream of everlasting and boundless peace, aligning myself with the one law of creation, which is the source of all things material and immaterial, the earth from which my body is formed, and those enlightened souls who have come before me, accepting with humility the wisdom found in the forces of nature and the cosmos, to which I have access, and holding in esteem others who strive to perfect their own personal evolution. Then meditate on the angel of love with which you're about to commune, contemplating its meaning and purpose in your own life and body. Our focus this evening, as you're concentrating on your breathing in and your breathing out, your heartbeat at your core, the combination of those two, and slowing them as you go. We're trying to put ourselves in a state of expressing the strongest feelings of love to the whole of humankind and to all forms of life on earth and in infinite space. So as you're sitting here in this state of love, which is our focus, try to radiate, whether you feel it or not, whether you think it or not. These are things that we must intentionally overcome in our lives. We're choosing to radiate the highest degree of love to all people, places, and things in our sphere of influence and beyond. The, the communion portion, the guided portion of the communion this evening is about thought. The highest form of thought is no thought at all. That may seem counterintuitive to you. The highest form of thought is not high thoughts, it's no thought. Because whenever we are thinking, the voice of our mind gets in the way of the voice of God, the voice that is speaking inherently to us at our center, which desperately wants to communicate with us, our higher self, our spirit. We can't hear what it has to say if we are constantly um, bringing thoughts and other stimuli into our lives. We need to find quiet stillness, no thought. That's your goal right now. Just be in a state of being, experience the highest state of love. This evening's communion, guided portion of our communion, is to think before thinking. One of the most common pieces of advice given through human history is this: think before you speak. Closely related to it is another familiar teaching: think before you act. Most people recognize the wisdom of these ideas. We understand that careless words can wound relationships, impulsive actions can create consequences, a moment of thoughtfulness can prevent a lifetime of regret. Yet there is another principle that receives far less attention, despite being even more fundamental: think before you think. At first glance, this sounds impossible. How can one think before thinking? How can a thought precede a thought? But this teaching is not about creating an endless loop of mental activity. It's about establishing an intentional framework through which all subsequent thoughts pass. It is about choosing the quality and direction of your thinking before the day begins. It's about deciding consciously and deliberately what kind of mind you wish to inhabit. Throughout my writings and teachings, I have often emphasized that personal evolution is the highest calling of the human experience. If this is true, then every thought, every word, and every deed must ultimately be evaluated through a single question: does this serve my personal evolution? If a thought contributes to greater wisdom, health, peace, compassion, awareness, or alignment with truth, it serves evolution. If it does not, it becomes something to overcome. If a word contributes to greater understanding, healing, encouragement, honesty, or growth, it serves evolution. If it does not, perhaps it should remain unspoken. If a deed contributes to greater peace, health, beauty, harmony, or personal development, it serves evolution. If it does not, perhaps it should never occur. This may sound demanding. In many ways, it is, but it is also liberating because it transforms life from a series of unconscious reactions into a process of conscious creation. Most people focus almost exclusively on actions. Some extend that focus to words. Very few focus on thoughts, yet thoughts are the roots from which both words and actions emerge. The Buddha famously stated, "All that we are is the result of what we have thought." Whether one views that statement spiritually, philosophically, or psychologically, it contains profound insight. Everything begins in thought. Every invention, every war, every act of kindness, every social movement, every work of art, every relationship, every civilization. Everything first exists within the thinking body. Words are thoughts spoken aloud. Actions are thoughts expressed physically. If we wish to transform our lives, we must eventually address the source. We must address thought itself. Modern society often teaches the opposite. We are encouraged to believe our thoughts are largely uncontrollable, random, harmless, private. We often assume that because a thought exists only within our own minds, it has little significance. But consider the consequences of this assumption. If resentment is repeatedly entertained, what eventually emerges? Words of resentment, actions of resentment, relationships shaped by resentment. If fear is constantly rehearsed, what eventually emerges? Words of fear, actions of fear, a life organized around fear. The thought itself may appear insignificant, but repeated thoughts become patterns. Patterns become habits. Habits become character. Character becomes destiny. This is why the ancients placed such emphasis on mindfulness, not because they wished to suppress thought, not because they sought mental perfection, but because they understood that consciousness grows in the direction of its attention. What we repeatedly think becomes what we repeatedly become. This reality has never been more important than it is today. Modern life continuously competes for our attention. Advertisements seek to shape our desires. News media often competes for our fears. Social media frequently amplifies comparison, outrage, and division. Entertainment saturates our minds with endless stimulation. Our thinking bodies are under constant assault. And much of this occurs beneath conscious awareness. The result is predictable: fragmented attention, anxiety, confusion, emotional reactivity, mental exhaustion, a growing inability to distinguish our own thoughts from the countless influences surrounding us. In previous teachings, I've spoken about technology as a test of maturity. I've discussed how the world around us mirrors our consciousness. Both principles apply here. The quality of our attention shapes the quality of our consciousness, and the quality of our consciousness shapes the quality of our experience. A distracted mind creates a distracted life. A fearful mind creates a fearful life. A peaceful mind creates a peaceful life. The outer world often reflects the inner world. This is why thinking before thinking is so important. It establishes intentionality before the noise arrives, before the headlines, before the notifications, before the arguments, before the pressures of daily life. It asks us to begin the day by deciding who we wish to become, not what we wish to acquire, not what we wish to accomplish, but who we wish to become. A person committed to personal evolution begins each day with a deliberate orientation toward growth, toward truth, toward peace, toward health, toward wisdom, toward love. This initial thought becomes a compass. Every subsequent thought can then be measured against it. Does this thought move me toward peace or away from it, toward wisdom or away from it, toward growth or away from it, toward health or away from it? The goal is not perfection. No one maintains perfect thoughts. No one remains perpetually mindful. No one evolves without setbacks. The goal is awareness. The goal is increasing intentionality. The goal is reducing the distance between the person who we are and the person we are becoming. Over time, this practice produces extraordinary results. The mind becomes clearer, the emotions become more stable, decisions become wiser, relationships improve, conflict decreases, peace increases. Not because circumstances have changed, but because consciousness has changed. And consciousness is the source from which all meaningful transformation arises. The ancient peace traditions understood this. The sages understood this. Nature itself demonstrates it. Healthy roots produce healthy fruits. Unhealthy roots produce unhealthy fruits. The same principle applies to human beings. Thoughts are roots, words are branches, actions are fruits. I'll say that again. Thoughts are roots, words are branches, actions are fruit. If we wish to improve the fruit, we must cultivate the roots. This is the essence of personal evolution. Not merely changing behavior, not merely changing appearances, but transforming the consciousness from which behavior emerges. Every day offers us that opportunity. Every moment presents a choice. Every thought becomes a seed. The question is simple. What are you planting? Here's your Dr. Ken challenge. Until we meet again, begin each morning with a single intentional thought. Today, every thought, word, and deed will serve my personal evolution. Write it down, read it aloud, carry it with you throughout the day. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, speaking, or acting unconsciously, gently return to that intention. Do not judge yourself, simply return. At the end of each day, ask yourself, did my thoughts serve the person I am becoming? The answer may reveal that personal evolution begins long before we speak and long before we act. It begins with the thoughts we choose to cultivate. Thank you for joining me this evening. I hope to see you again soon. We do these